What was your impression of the role of women in the country as compared to back home and even from Gen 2 where you came from? Where you originally came, yeah, where you were working before coming to Manila?
You're just picking on me.
Sorry, you can answer that first if you want.
So, sorry, was that in the workplace or outside or just generally?
Yeah, generally, the business,
The role of women.
yeah, the role of women.
That's a very broad question. By the way, my 2 years are up on the 30th of June, if you want to buy me a cake. Look, every culture is different, is my learning. Australians generally, and I'm going to generalize, generally are male chauvinist pigs. But they're changing and they're getting better over the last 10 years. I'd say in China, it's interesting, the younger generations of millennials, women, are really dominant in relationships, so in the personal lives. So you'll often see, and I've seen it a little bit here, but definitely a lot more in China, is the guys carrying the handbags around. Have you seen that here?
Yes.
You carry your wife's handbag?
No, she hates it. It's a cabin case, but
Okay. And I'm talking about handbag. You go out in the evening and you see guys carrying their girlfriends and wives handbags, and that's kind of a power thing for the Chinese women. And it's a trend in the millennials to show that women are now starting to get the power over their better halves. And it's interesting to witness. In the workplace, though, I don't see any difference. And I won't refer to the workplace because I only know ANZ in the last 10 years in those 3 locations. I don't see any biases or anything like that in the workplace, but certainly in the outside workplace, outside of the workplace, definitely seeing some changes where, and I'm not going to call it women power, but I feel like you're starting to stand up more for yourselves as committed husbands and wives and partners and wherever they are. They're starting to say, hey, you go and change the nappy, and I'll go and watch TV. And they're also saying, you carry my handbag, and I think that's quite cool.
usually if half the women in the room run, I think.
Any more questions, guys? Do we have
One more.
one more question?
One more question. Okay, come on.
I want to know if Joseph's been to the CrossFit Center, because I've just noticed the size of your biceps.
Oh, there we go.
A question for Kristen. What are your thoughts around chivalry? It's of course true. Yeah, your thoughts on it. In expectation for gentlemen, especially for example in dating and
Let me tell you that, so I currently have a boyfriend, contrary to what my mom thinks. So he's also a CrossFitter. He lives with his sister here in Makati because he is actually based in Bacolod. So when we go out on dates, it is me who brings the car because he does not own a car, and it doesn't bother me because it's just how it is. So I guess when it comes to chivalry, I don't think that it should be the guy who's supposed to pay for dates, or should be him who's supposed to bring the car or always drives me home anywhere.
So chivalry is not dead, it has evolved.
It has
Yes,
evolved.
it
It has evolved. In fact, I hope I don't want to show it, but they have a picture of Ted carrying JN. JN is the name of the boyfriend. So yes, she's that strong. Alright. So
Alright,
Oh, yeah, sure. We just one last, and I know you've been itching to ask a question.
This is for Steve and Jet. So, question is, what are your thoughts around financial management or budgeting at home? Is it the wife making a decision, or it's considered as a shared decision for the both of you?
I'll buy you some time. And Fred's smirking at the back. He knows the situation and the story. So, I don't know. Growing up, I was a mama's boy, and pretty much a lot of her traits got passed on to me. I learned from her. You know how people say that, I don't know, is it itchy palm? Or basically, you know, the moment money hits your palm, it just slips away. My wife, the person I married, actually is the eldest of 5. Pretty much sent her 4 other siblings to school. So she's that good with money, saving up and working hard for it and whatnot. And when I talked about earlier, shared to you how the setup at home is, there's that certain level of trust, commitment, and so on, where she goes like, okay, here's a compromise. You, just Jet, okay, use all your money and pay all the bills, send your daughter to school, and everything. Which pretty much makes me happy. You know what I'm saying? Because I get the, okay, I provide, so to speak. There's that notion. And then on her part, she gets to save. She does all the saving. And I think it just ended up being a win-win situation. You know, pretty much you have that feeling that you're happy because you're able to provide your family with all the basic needs and what have you. And then at the end of the month feel sad because you're flat broke. Zero. Like sometimes I go there, can you spare me $100? I need to go to work. It's that serious. Whilst she is so happy doing also what she loves doing, which is, let me save for a rainy day, let me save for your daughter's college fund and whatnot. So yeah, I going back to what I said earlier, I think there's that open line of communication that happens. There's the commitment, the keep the unit, the family, the couple, the relationship moving forward in a single direction and to one common objective. You know, that's that. Thank you.
Is that okay, Glenda? Did you pass? I'm not going to talk about my circumstances, but I can certainly talk about things I've seen or heard, and I've even heard here in the Middle Service Centre, some of my leadership team, where there's a whole mixed bag of ways of handling this situation. So there's one person in particular where, you know, there's a couple that they're married on my leadership team, but they have completely separate bank accounts, they manage their money, they have a kid, and yet their finances are kept completely separate, and they manage through an agreement which says you'll pay for the school fees, I'll pay for the holidays, we'll split the food bill and that kind of stuff. So you know, people have that kind of arrangement. I'm not sure it's necessarily a bias, or it might be related to how you're brought up and you're really good at numbers, and you know, you care a lot about that stuff, or you care less about it. So I'm not sure it's about necessarily the male-female thing in that example. I think it's a lot more about practical or historical or whatever suits those individuals. And there's other examples where all the money goes in a pot, basically in a bank account. You draw on it, you know, and you jointly maintain a spreadsheet with what you're going to do with the spend and what needs to be paid. So you know, there's extremes. But I don't think it's necessarily biased in any way other than around trust and maybe the way you're brought up.
So again, Jet, Steve, Dan, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts, your insights, your experiences with us today. Before we let you go, we'd like to give you this certificate of appreciation from and on behalf of the ANZ Women's Network and Male Champion of Change. We give you this certificate of appreciation for your participation as a resource and guest speaker in Gender Bender. So that's the session for today. And this is in line with our International Women's Day celebration. So given this 15th day of March at the ANZ Manila Service Center, Solaris, Makati City, signed, of course, Steve, Kia, the co-chair, and yours truly as the male champion of change.
I never received a certificate. Fantastic. I'm excited.
Or you didn't sign your own certificate. And that's why you were surprised, huh?
Yeah, this is fun. Have a photo with people?
Yeah. Let's go.